Parak HaMakabel Sadeh Mechaveroi Daf Kuf Ches, sponsored the Refuah Shleima for Ayala Basrus. The Gemara begins discussing who is obligated to contribute to building a security fence and digging wells for a city. Rabbi Yehuda holds all the city dwellers, even orphans, must contribute for a security fence. Only Talmidei Chachamim are exempt because their Torah protects them. However, they have to contribute to the digging of wells. They need water to drink. This is only if the city dwellers hire workers. If they dig themselves, Talmidei Chachamim do not participate or even hiring replacements. The Gemara next discusses who is responsible to clear out obstructions from a river and drain ditches from rainwater. Rabbi Yehuda holds regarding obstructions from a river, the owner of fields downstream must help those upstream because it restarts the flow to their area, but those upstream do not have to help those downstream. Water flowing faster downstream lowers the water level upstream. Rainwater is the opposite. Those above are required to help those below to prevent water backing up and mudding roads, whereas those below are not required to help rainwater flow down. The Persian government ruled Bavel. Anyone could seize land as long as he paid real estate tax upon seizure. Shmuel holds one who seizes land along the riverbanks to build or plant is impudent. It prevents unloading cargo. Initially, no legal recourse was available to remove him. Later, the Persian government changed the law. Anyone acquiring land there owned it into the river to the height of a horse's neck. Even if he enclosed the property at a distance from the riverbank, others no longer had any legal right to that area. The Gemara brings three opinions concerning one who seized land in between two brothers or partners' fields. Number one, Rav Yehuda Marab holds he is impudent but cannot be removed legally, although the brothers or partners intend to purchase the field in between them. Number two, Rav Nachman holds where two brothers or partners own the adjacent fields, he is in gross violation of the mitzvah of Asisa Yoshua Tov, that the Chachamim remove him. However, he cannot be removed midina de bar metzra by a claim of an adjacent property holder. He does not subscribe to dina de bar metzra. Number three, the Nardoi hold the requirement of Asisa Yoshua Tov applies to an adjacent property holder. It is advantageous for him to purchase fields together rather than scattered. The Gemara now discusses various laws of dina de bar metzra. Number one, if a prospective buyer attained permission from the adjacent landholder to buy the property, does he require a kinyan? Ravino holds he does not require a kinyan. His oral agreement suffices. However, the Nardoi hold without a kinyan, the neighbor can claim he waived his right of purchase in order to purchase it later from the outsider at market value rather than pay a higher price to his bar metzra. This is the halacha. If the outsider fails to make a kinyan, his purchase is as an agent of the neighbor. Any increase in value accrues to the neighbor. Any decrease in value is compensated by the neighbor's purchase. Number two, if the owner uncommonly sold the property at a discount, it is viewed as a favor to the outsider and the neighbor pays the market value for it. He cannot claim the lower price paid by the outsider. Number three, if the outsider overpaid, the Gemara, based on its previous conclusion, attempts to apply a rule applicable to agents. The takuni shidarticha velo labusi. I sent you to help me, not to harm me, allowing the neighbor to nullify the sale. The Gemara rejects this based on the principle eino nola karka. Overcharging regulations do not pertain to land. The seller did not commit fraud to the sale, so the sale is not nullified. Number four, the seller sold the outsider a field in the middle of his surrounding fields. If the quality was different, it is a legal sale. If the quality was the same, his purchase is null and void. We assume the buyer attempts to gain adjacent property to the seller's surrounding properties to outbid his outer neighbors. If the owner gives the outsider the land as a gift, he has no requirement of Asisa Yoshua Tov. He is not expected to suffer a loss of a gift. However, if the owner guaranteed the gift, the law of Bar Metzia applies. The Chachamim assume it is a sale. The gift document is to cover it up in order to circumvent the law of Bar Metzia. Number six, if the outsider demands all the owner's properties, the law of Bar Metzia does not apply. The outsider may renege if he cannot purchase all the land. The outsider can sell back a parcel to the original owner as long as he did not sell to one of the neighbors. Number seven, a neighbor has no claim of Bar Metzia if the owner was a Gentile. The outsider can claim, I chased away a lion. The same is true if he sold to a Gentile. The law of Bar Metzia applies only to a buyer. However, the seller must compensate the neighbor for any losses caused by the sale to the Gentile. Number eight, if the land was a security for a loan, the borrower can decide to sell it to the lender. Number nine, if the owner has an opportunity to purchase land closer to him by selling the adjacent field immediately or selling it an inferior field for a better one, there is no Bar Metzia. Number 10, if the owner is selling for urgent needs such as paying taxes, child support, or for burial expenses, there is no Bar Metzia, just as property of orphans are sold for these three needs without an auction. Number 11, the law of Bar Metzia does not apply to women orphans who are not accustomed to purchasing land or a partner. When buying out a partner, he is considered the closest neighbor. Number 12, the outsider offers coins more acceptable to the owner than what the neighbor offers, or the coins of the neighbor were tied together, whereas those of the outsider were loose and unusable immediately. Bar Metzia does not apply. Similarly, if the neighbor says, I will exert myself himself. To bring the money, the owner does not have to wait. However, if he says he will bring the money, it is for the court to decide if he has the means to pay immediately or not. Number 13, if there is a house on the property, the landowner can demand the homeowner sell to him before anyone else, whereas the homeowner cannot demand this from the landowner. Same applies if there are trees on the land that are owned by another. Number 14, if the outsider wants the land for living purposes, he precedes the neighbor who will use it for agriculture. Number 15, if a bedrock or palm tree prevents the neighbor from extending even one furrow into the adjacent field, there is no bar metzia. Number 16, if one neighbor precedes the other, there is no bar metzia. If they come together, the owner must divide the field in 4 by drawing diagonal lines. If you enjoy Daf in 5, please subscribe.